Let's talk about the basic percussion stroke. On all instruments, we usually start with what we call a piston stroke. It's a relatively fast stroke that starts high, goes down, and comes up pretty quickly. The key to that is it stops where it starts. So with a basic 4-mallet stroke, I'm in my right hand, I start about 6 or 7 inches above the keyboard, and I move down and touch the keyboard relatively quickly and end right back there. The goal of the stroke is to come back to this position. The more weight that you put into the bar, if you stay down there, changes the tone of the bar. So your average stroke, once again, let me say this is just your normal stroke, is relatively quick, up and down. I like to call it a down-up stroke, and it should always stop where it started. The basic stroke actually resembles shaking somebody's hand. You want to make sure that you have your thumb pointing up to the ceiling, and if you are just going to reach out and shake someone's hand, that's a good way to start practicing a basic piston stroke. Another thing that you'll want to watch for is the angle of your mallets on the bar. The mallets are designed to hit right across the center in the sweet spot. If you are coming down onto the bar on the wrong place of the mallet, you are not going to get the sound the mallet was designed for. This is also relatively hard on your wrist. So at the bottom of the stroke, your hand should be fairly flat to the instrument. Remember, that's not where you're going to stop the stroke. That is a good place to check that you are hitting the bar on the appropriate spot on the mallet. You'll notice that when I stand behind the keyboard, I have the keyboard at kind of the same height that I would have my snare drum. You should be able to comfortably raise your hand up, not quite at a 90-degree angle, but comfortably enough that I can put the mallets in my hand and have them resting maybe 2 or 3 inches above the keyboard. I will then start my stroke higher than that, so you want to make sure you do have some room to move the mallets up to start the stroke. When you do start that stroke, make sure you're not raising your arm and your shoulders with it. So you start at a comfortable position, raise those mallets up 2 to 3 inches off the keyboard with some room to lift for a stroke. Let me just demonstrate some slow double vertical strokes with proper piston stroke. I'm going to start higher than my wrist. I'm going to come down, strike the bar, and return here. I want you to see that all these tips I'm giving you actually are intended to keep your hand nice and relaxed. If you were to just raise your hand up like you were going to grab a cup or something, I should be able to put my mallets in your hand and have you actually not have to change your hand that much. If I take the mallets out of your hand, you'll notice that your hand should be at a relatively relaxed position. For me, when I put the mallets in my hand at this relaxed state, they form about the interval of a fifth. Yours may be a fourth, it may be a sixth, but it's probably going to be relatively wide. The key is that your hand is still really relaxed while you're holding both mallets.